but it's a safe space for men to be able to share and be vulnerable and not have the noise of TikTok around them. And that is run by our newest member of BME, Fadeaway Ryan. Ryan is actually getting his office back up and running. He had some issues last night because of tornadoes and tornado warnings down in his area, and they just got the power restored. So we wish him the very best. And he said that if he could join us, he may join us late tonight. So we're hoping he'll be able to sit with us and be able to sit down and talk to Ken with us because this is going to be a great, great live. I'm really excited about this one.
Don't mess it up, Tony. This is a chance in a lifetime. You don't mess this up.
Me? Mess this up?
Oh, I forgot we were live. Side. No, I'm just joking.
See? Right there. See, he was so well behaved last week when we had Ryan up, and look, right back to the same stuff.
And I got the barefoot on the side.
Right back to the shenanigans.
Getting a little, the little water down, and then, the barefoot will be on the side.
Hey, and don't forget, if you have it, I had a whole story about drinking water. Don't forget to take your bariatric vitamins today, too. Oh, you got the sea salted caramel.
I'm taking the sea salt caramel.
So take those, and don't forget that you can actually get a discount if you use our code BME10 if you go onto the ProCare website.
What's up, Moba Sherry? Welcome to the live. I think this might be your first one. Caitlin, how you doing?
Where have you been? She's been in our lives before.
Sherry?
Yeah?
I've never seen her.
Sherry, I'm sorry. It's because, you guys have been friends a long time. You think he would pay attention to who's here and who supports him?
You know what's cool is yesterday, Sherry, it was our year anniversary of our Unzipped with Sherry YouTube podcast that we did when we first met. So there's to your he doesn't care about me.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And that was everyone's introduction to Mr. Rab Roberts there.
Yeah. Live and direct. Yeah, please do bring it back. As soon as you get settled, sweetheart, bring that back because we love it.
Oh, I'm excited about that one.
Get Fit with D. Welcome, man. So.
Hey, Caitlin.
You know what else I wanted to bring up that we forgot last week, but I didn't want to forget this week. Going to do more mindset moving forward. Good. That's what we need. For sure.
Definitely.
The podcast, the FU podcast.
Yes.
With Embrace Life, Mike. Y'all got to check him out on YouTube. The FU podcast with CT Fletcher. It's good stuff. It's a great live. We're actually going to have him up on the live on the 30th of July, so we're looking forward to that. That Tuesday.
I did share some stuff. I shared a couple of his posts this week because he is getting suppressed by multiple platforms or apps. So same thing with TikTok, same thing with his Instagram, same thing with their YouTube. A lot of their content is being suppressed. So what we can do to help support is to make sure that we are going around and we are sharing all of those posts that they have, get them stuck into the algorithm, help support his live, and check it out every so they record every Wednesday, and they actually release that at midnight on Friday night.
It's the FU podcast, Gail. It's on TikTok. You can find the page on TikTok, but they stream on YouTube. Also, if you all get an opportunity, please jump off here right now. We'll wait on you. We'll wait on you. Jump off right now. Jump on over to YT, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube because we'd love to have you. If you miss any podcasts or anything you want to listen to, we have some classics. They're all on there. We could use all the subscribers because obviously the more subscribers, the more support we get, and the more men we can get into the community. To put this into a little perspective, there is a FB page that I'm a member of. There's like 8,000 men on there, and I can't. Tony and I, we can't post anything on there because of the moderators or administrators of that page won't allow it. So
actually, you're a member of that page. I'm not.
Yeah, and they won't even accept Tony. So it's just really strange. So.
And while you're over on YT, don't forget to follow our sister chat as well over on there on YT at TBTM.
Talk Bari to me. Yeah, and subscribe to her first. Absolutely. Anna, how you doing, sweetheart? Good to have you. Anxiety about eating more. What's up with that, Ashley? I've been hearing that a lot lately. I'm about 1 year over. 1 year well, I was 1 year post-op after May. So I'm a little over, and I feel great. I feel like I'm in a good place, but I'm starting to not like my body again. So there's that. Well, that's good for another conversation. Barry B, how you doing? All right.
Lots of fears.
Yeah.
Going forward when it comes to food, but again, if you develop those habits and you stick with them, it's all about habits. You form those habits, you can be successful further down. But remember that most of us get that food noise back, and it's all about sticking to the program. It's okay to have something every once in a while.
Tony, you got BiteSized in your sights right now?
Let's check it out.
Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Ken, the inspiring author behind BiteSized, a cookbook specifically tailored for the bariatric community. Ken's journey began with his own experience as a gastric sleeve veteran, and he has since dedicated himself to helping others navigate their post-surgery dietary needs. Through BiteSized, Ken offers a collection of delicious portion-controlled recipes that make healthy eating both satisfying and enjoyable for those with smaller stomachs. Ken's innovative approach to bariatric cooking has garnered widespread acclaim, and his cookbook has become a go-to resource for many in the bariatric community. Beyond his written work, Ken actively shares his culinary creations and insights through various platforms, including his blog on the BiteSized store website, TikTok, and YouTube. So in today's episode, we're going to dive into Ken's personal journey, explore the inspirations behind his cookbook, and discuss the challenges and triumphs of creating recipes that balance taste and nutritional needs. We'll also hear about Ken's latest projects and get some tips on how to enjoy food in a healthy, controlled manner. Ken, welcome to the live.
Welcome, Ken.
Good to have you.
Let's let him get situated. I will add that my first 7 to 8 months was successful because I had this book.
For real?
Yes. And Rab, you know this because what was I about? When we started, I was a little bit further out, actually. Ooh, I think we lost him.
Yeah. There has been one of those things, it's like, the only reason why I haven't jumped out there is because I hate cooking, and it's become a problem. Amanda says she likes the wonton tacos. I've heard a lot about the wonton tacos.
All of those, there are so many little wonton recipes in there. Something that you can like. It's something if you have a family, your kids will love, your wife will love, your husband will love. It's all of those little things. So it was always like a dinner for me. It was a way for all of us to eat together and eat the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. What do we got? The wonton barbecue chicken bites. Yeah, do they have gluten-free wonton wrappers?
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry.
Ken, do they have wonton gluten-free wrappers?
Gluten free. That would be very niched. I would be shocked if it didn't exist, but I would be shocked if it was very available. Like wonton wrappers, when I first started cooking, was kind of like something you wouldn't find everywhere. Like everywhere, like I would have to go to a special store. Nowadays, you can go to Stop and Shop, and they're everywhere. I don't know if they're gluten free, but I'm sure that they're out there. You just might have to look a little harder for that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, VSG. Actually, guys, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I was just trying to log in, and of course,
There's,
everything that can go wrong did go wrong. So sorry.
we wouldn't have it any other way, Ken.
I mean, you would have it the way where everything worked and it was on time and everything.
Nah, don't worry.
But
Don't worry
appreciate it.
about it. Don't worry about it at all, man. We're
We
good.
have technical difficulties all the time.
Apologies.
There's no perfection going on here, man, for sure.
Thank you for that intro. It was so funny to be like listening to like all the kind words and then being like, this stupid thing won't log me in.
Yeah, yeah, but you know what though, Ken? That is all you, man. And like it's like after doing, looking further into what you've accomplished and how far you've come, and what you're doing for the community, man, it really puts things into perspective, and we appreciate you for all you do. So
Yeah, so much.
Thank you very
you're
much.
modest.
I mean,
I know you're super modest. We had this conversation, man, but hey, I'm working on it myself. I'm just trying to get used to being, accepted as like this good person and loved, by people. No idea
well,
who I am.
Well,
But
I appreciate you both and everybody that takes the time to like put this stuff out here because I mean the reason why I started doing what I did was when I was going through my process like 10 years ago, like there wasn't like a person that was like even back then blogging about it. It was just like it was like this thing you would Google and you'd find some web pages on it, but you weren't hearing like people's personal experiences. It was almost like taboo. And I remember like, going through programs and being like, I just want to talk to somebody that like did it. And there almost felt like there was like a wall up between like me and them. Like I couldn't just be like, hey, how is this? Hey, how is food? Hey, how is your relationship with this? How did you do it? Was it that difficult? I didn't have any of that. So it's nice that like we have this today in existence. It's very accessible. And I appreciate you guys for being a part of that for sure.
This journey can feel very lonely in the beginning,
Big time.
and when you finally find like people that you can relate to and talk about these things, it really motivates you, and you all of a sudden you have accountability partners, and you have people that you can talk to when you struggle, and then when you all those NSVs that you can share with people, and it's something that you guys can all celebrate together. It's just an amazing experience, and like this platform has just done wonders to help all of us in this community.
yeah. Hey, Ken, can you tell us a little bit? Yeah.
Hey, of course. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about the surgery that you had and your journey thus far and what led you to that?
Yeah, no problem. So I had gastric sleeve back in 2014, 2013, 2014, roughly. I weighed over 500 pounds getting started. I didn't know I weighed over 500 pounds getting started, just because there wasn't a scale back then that could, weigh me like that. It was actually through the program that like kind of nailed that piece. And I was like, wow. And, I don't think like this now, but certainly back then, I used to go, well, I know I know I have like a weight problem, but like I'm not like, I'm not I'm not like on my 600-pound life, for example. Like I'm mobile, I'm active, I get around. Meanwhile, I'm like 75 pounds away, from that like group, and it was shocking. I didn't. I think like you never really realize how bad things can get when you're not really paying attention. So I signed up for sleeve. The program took a long time. I quit at least 3 times because I just got very discouraged and very down. And it's tough. It's really tough making a change. It's tough going through a program. It's tough following directions. It's tough. I was in a class of people So, people would come in, they'd get approved, they would be excited, they'd get their surgery, they would get their, their weight loss, and then they would move on. I saw that, maybe a dozen times. And it's hard to like go through that and go like, I've been here for 6 months. This person was here for two, and they're already on their way on their new life. And I'm sitting here being like, I don't even have a date. So I got impatient. I got impatient so many times and booked it out. Even after when I did finally get my date, even then, then it became this like, do I want to do this? Like, because I was losing weight, I was doing it, I was sticking with the diet, and I was exercising, and I was, doing it myself. And I realized I was second guessing myself because I was really afraid, like I had made changes and I had gotten comfortable with them. And then I was like going to sign up for this thing where you kind of don't have a choice but to make it work. And I think I rescheduled my appointment maybe 2 or 3 times, with the intention of like, oh, I'll just push it back and I'll push it back, thinking like I would be better like for more time. And I never got better with time. I just didn't.
What
Yeah.
was that why moment that said, you know what, I need to do this 100%. If I don't, I'm gonna die.
There was, well, I've certainly had the die conversation a million times, and that was never helpful to me. Like that would just, it would put me in like a really bad spot. The why conversation that worked with me was with my physician that actually put me in contact with the program, and that was just like, what kind of life do you want? Like people used to talk about like the end, and you go, yeah, I know we're all going to die, and I would get very defensive about it. She came at from the perspective of like, do you want a family? Do you want kids? Do you want to be there for your kids? In what ways do you want to be with your kids? Do you want to be able to go on a walk with them, on a hike with them? Like the things I actually would care about. Like I was never like a sports guy growing up. I just never had a thing for it. So like I never had the desire to be athletic. But like having family moments and connection, that was my language. And she figured somehow she saw me and was like, that's how we talk to this person. And I will never forget that. And I'm so glad she did, because that was what kept making me move forward, was finding the things that actually spoke to me.
I think what you're saying is resonating with my dog next to me.
Was it? Yeah, your dog concurs. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Dogs are all about those moments.
Yeah, I was the same way though. I tried to put it off. I remember when I was, I put myself through the same program, or not your same program, but I went through a program, and it was like, you got 6 to 8 months. I was dragging my feet to lose the weight, and I figured like,
Wow.
if I wasn't able to lose it by the time I got through the program, that I would just get the surgery. And it was
Yeah, of course.
wild. Yeah, it was wild timing, because like right when I got to the point where I was going to have surgery, I had just got diagnosed with diabetes, and the doctor was like,
Oh
"We
man.
don't have to worry about diabetes because you're going to have the surgery." So he didn't put me on any medication. So yeah, we just went
Sure.
and got it done. How did you feel like
Thank
after?
God.
Because we had a question come up from someone in the chat who had asked earlier about, did anyone have how did they feel after 1 year post-op? Do you remember how you felt
How,
like after like 1 year post-op? Because Tony is like 17 months or something, and I'm like
sure.
13, 14 months, so we're still relatively new. So can you
Yeah.
speak on where you were at back then? Is that too far?
It's not that far. I remember it like it was yesterday, because it was such like a whirlwind time for me. Like I'm going through like a lot of changes at that point, and it's not just surgery, although that was definitely a big part of it. I was freshly divorced, like from somebody that like was my only real relationship since I was in high school. I had just gotten out of college. I was, starting a job. Like, so I'm like dating. I'm basically like learning how to like be like a male adult. Like the stuff you learn when you're like 18, 19, 20, like at 26, 27. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of good times. I think I got a little cocky Like I got a little bit like, oh, the weight just comes off me like it's a piece of cake. Like, yeah, I can mess up like once in a while, and who cares? Like you know, I exercise as long as I exercise well and I make sure that I'm still taking my vitamins. Like I'm good. So I got a little bit ahead of myself with that kind of stuff. The other thing, I would have these really weird moments like. You reach a point like when you lose weight when you're like I feel good, I look good, I feel like I'm in a place where I like to be, and then you start like getting clothes that you actually like, like you're like not only do I look good, like I feel good in this, as opposed to it just fits. It's the right color. I would get discouraged because I would lose weight and then that stuff would just look ridiculous on me, and I remember being like I hate this because I don't feel like I feel like I'm out of control in a different way. So that would get frustrating. But like once you get over that, overall it's pretty nice. Like it's really nice. I wish I learned to enjoy those days more because like I think I was just still kind of like I was a little bit like, oh, I can do no wrong, but I was also like, I would have like recurring nightmares, like where I would wake up, and I'd be like, you're 500 pounds again. You fucked this all up. Like you did the thing that you said you weren't going to do. It's stressful, that first year it can be great, but it can also be very, worrisome at the same time.
Now, did you work with a mental therapist at that point early on, or was that not part of like a program that they had?
I had all of that. I had a nutritionist, I had a mental health counselor, I had the doctor, I had everything. Like I had like, all the stuff and then some, which I'm really shocked to find I've learned with talking with other people that's not how all programs are. Some programs are just like, you talk to a surgeon, you talk to a nutritionist, and then 2 weeks later you're getting, cut open. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like I'm like, that's cool. Like I would have loved that at the time, but like I don't know if that's necessarily like the best path to success. I don't know.
Right. So speaking on that, when we talked the other day, you had a problem with regain. When did that come?
Oh, big time.
Yeah. When did that come into play?
Regain snuck up on me in 2017, 2018. It really snuck up on me. It was just like a mix of, I had a really bad, I had a really bad experience at work. That was stressful. And then I lost my dad. So I had like this year of time where I was like just in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, sometimes you don't realize that you lean on old things like fast food and energy drinks and quick snacks and stuff like that. So I had about a year of like that. And when I did eventually find a new job, a job I still hold today, which I'm very happy about, I weighed over 400 pounds again. And I was like, I'm heading back in the other direction. It's actually funny. I'm sorry.
You got as low as how much? And then you went back up to 400.
Oh, okay. So I got down to it was like 250. Which I had never thought I was ever going to do again. And then I was back up at like the 425 range by the time I was like going back to work at like in like 2018.
Wow.
Yeah. Scary. No, terrifying.
What did you do?
And the thing was like
go ahead.
Oh yeah. That's how I got on that's how I got on TikTok. So like at work, like nobody knew I had weight loss surgery. Because like they didn't know that, and I'm also like walking around over 400 pounds. So like if you looked at me, you wouldn't think that like I had done anything, right? I remember one day someone went up to me, a good friend at work. He meant all, he was nice. He was like, "Hey, have you ever looked into like gastric sleeve or gastric bypass?" And which is the worst thing you can possibly hear after having that, because you're just like your brain is just like. Yeah, because you don't want to be like, actually, yes, and I do have it, and this is what I have. Because then, you feel bad. You're like, what's the follow-up for them? And then you make them feel like an asshole. And I was just like, I remember just laughing. And then he kind of got confused by that. And then I just felt really bad. I had a conversation with myself. I literally took pad to paper and was like, is just is this who I am? Like, is this just what I am? Like, I've always been this. I'm like, why do I have to fight this? I'm like, maybe this is just who I am. And then I was like, is it, philosophically, I'm like, is it bad to try to be better than what you are? And I was like, I don't think it's a bad thing. If you want to do it, you should be able to do it. And then I just started really getting honest with myself. I'm like, why don't I exercise? And I'm like, well, I hate exercise. I hate the gym. I hate lifting weights. I hate exercise machines. I hate I just went down this like giant list. Like, okay, I'm like, how can you exercise? What would be an exercise that you would do every day consistently that you would enjoy? And I just I didn't have the answer to it. I just didn't at the time. But I just started being like, well, I don't want to be outside because the weather here sucks. It's either too hot, too cold. It's raining out. It's snowing out. I hate bugs. Like I just had this giant list, and I didn't have a solution, but I had that list, and I just sort of like just put it off to the side. And I was thinking about it one day, and I went to an anime convention. I was at a big giant mall, and I walked around that for eight hours straight. And my watch kept saying like, "Hey, are you exercising?" And I go, "No, I'm shopping for stuff. Like I'm not exercising. Like whatever." Not realizing like that's a form of exercise, just walking around the mall. And it clicked with me. I go, mall walking. I can do that. There's a mall right down the street from me. So I started doing that 2, 3, 4, 5. Today we're up to 6 miles a day. I do that every morning. It's how I clear my head. It's how I get focused. It's how I start my day. And then, I started learning about recipes. Like I initially on Instagram, I started off as Keto Ken. I was learning keto recipes. It's how I learned how to cook. And then I got on here and like, was just talking about my weight loss journey and, things I was doing and how it's hard to like, stick with something. And then I started making the food on here that I was making. And then here we go with bite size. It all just sort of like clicked into place.
Oh,
It's like I was talking about with you guys the other day. You start the conversation, you share your thoughts, you share your emotions. There's a million people that have those same thoughts and those same emotions, and they find community in you being like, hey, I'm having this and I'm struggling with this. And they go, yeah, me too. Let's talk about it.
Are there recipes in that
The
book?
end.
Are there recipes in that book that you basically just lived off of for the longest time, or like is this just a small sample size of like what your whole diet was? Did you exclude anything?
Those
from the book?
The mini tacos you mentioned the other night, we ate those 3 times a week. Like, seriously, we like, I love slash hate those things. Like, like the taco shells with the provolone cheese. That is a keto thing. That is a 100% keto thing. And my fiance loves them to death. With me, like, the more simple you make a diet, the more straightforward, the more easier you are to stick with it. I ate that, bacon, eggs for 6 months, and if I never have another slice of bacon, I'll be fine. But yeah, there's a lot of recipes in the book that I straight lived off of for months, just trying to get back to where I was comfortable again.
right. So we went from damn near 500 pounds. We lost the weight, got down to about 270, 80, 90, and then we
Yep.
went back up to 425. And then you got
That's right.
focused and went back down, started bite size. What about body dysmorphia?
Body dysmorphia is an interesting thing because sometimes you go, I feel great, but when I look at myself, I don't feel that great about it. Like what's going on? I have bat wings, I have skin flap, my legs, like there's just like issues that you're like, man, I'm like, I don't look as good as I feel, and that's obviously discouraging. Some things I've gotten better about, like, lifting weights, that solved the arm, issue. 2 years ago or a year ago, how long was it ago? I got my belly skin cut off, which is so awesome. I highly recommend it for any guys. Like, guys, it will change your life. It is the top. Yeah.
What now?
What's
Was
that?
it just the panulectomy, or was it, or did you get
That's
like
it. Yeah. No, the panelectomy one. Yeah. Just because it's covered by insurance. I got that almost 2 years ago. It's life changing. So I started running during this time, and I got very discouraged because as you're running, as you know, your bottom half slaps with your top half, and you feel I would feel gross. I would feel gross, and I'd get chafed, and it just you're like, what is this? Like, why is this a problem? I got that skin surgery, and now it's like I don't have to wear any wraps. I don't have to wear I don't have to wear a tight shirt and then undershirt and then a regular shirt. It's just like you're good. It's simple.
I am
simple.
going exactly through what you are talking about right
Are
now.
you?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So I weighed 425 pounds.
Sure.
I've got myself down to 250. So Rab and I have gone back and forth for months, like trying to work out. We're trying to find ways where, like, all right, I'm not tightening up like I did when I was back in my 20s.
Of course.
Like, I have a lot of excess, like, midsection weight, and I have like the flaps right on the chest and stuff, and like going up and down the stairs, you hear everything slapping, and you run.
It's so discouraging,
and you get pain.
Yeah,
because you feel like it's ripping from you.
Yeah, big time.
And it's really disheartening because you put so much work into it, and
It totally is.
I feel great, and you look great with clothes on because you're holding it all in. You're wearing compression clothing, but you're walking past the mirror to go take a shower, and then it's that realization of, who is that? I'm like, it's. And you almost kind of look at yourself, and you have that little bit of disgust. It's like, I did all of this, and I still look and feel the same in my head.
Big time.
And to try to, my kids see it, but they don't understand it. And trying to explain it to my wife, it's difficult because, again, she can sympathize, but she can't empathize with what I'm going through.
I'm so glad you bring that up because I think it's not just your family thing; it's anybody. Back when I used to post this stuff all the time, I would be like, I'm discouraged about this, and I would pull my my skin out and that kind of stuff, and everyone would be like, it's fine, and I would be like, they're not just being nice; they literally like, I don't see an issue. Yeah. It's solely a you issue, and that sounds harsh, but like the fact of the matter is, no one really cares, and it still doesn't fix it because you still care, and I totally get that. I'm someone that also cares about that as well. But yeah, that sucks in a different dimension. You're like, why am I the only one that cares about this? And I care about it a lot. It bothers me tremendously. In fact,
it bothers you more than you want it to.
Big time.
You go into it knowing, and I had actually talked about this, and it was actually talked to me by my therapist.
Yeah.
Was, you do realize that you're going to have excess skin. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'll be fine.
Yeah, of course.
And when the realization set in, it hit me harder than I ever thought it would. And I've gotten emotional on this. I've talked about this here, and I've gotten emotional about it because it's upsetting. It can be very hard sometimes when you put all this work in and you're not who you think you should look like.
It's upsetting, it's discouraging, and then on top of that too, that there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you're not going to be able to do crunches, you're not going to be able to do sit-ups. It's like not a matter of you just got to go get it and go do it. You're like, this is it. like there's nothing I can do unless I go to somebody and have some sort of intervention, which, by the way, of all the procedures I've had over the years, dealing with this stuff, that skin surgery was the hardest thing I went through. The absolutely hardest thing I went through.
So it was the hardest thing you went through, but you wouldn't trade it for anything. You'd go through it all over again.
I'm happy to be on the other side of it, but I would be very squeamish about signing up for it again. It's it's not painful. In fact, the day I had it, and if Sherry's still on here, I talked to her as soon as I woke up, I talked to Sherry, and I was like, I'm fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not in any pain. Right. I was actually skipping around the surgical ward. It was great. like anesthesia rocks. It was the recovery afterwards. It was, you feel low, you feel exhausted. And then you also have two blood drains sticking out of your legs that you have to empty every 2 or 3 hours. So you feel kind of like a little bit of like a cow, like you're just like producing milk like constantly. You have to create a system of like how to go to the bathroom. So you go to that's actually when I started wearing sweatshirts. I would take my little blood drains and I would bobby pin them to like my little ties on my sweatshirts, and that would hold them up while I'm going to the bathroom. Like it made everything difficult. And then also made everything exhausting. And then with, being that exhausted, you get depressed and you're bedridden, and you have that for 30 days. And it was tough. It was really, really tough, for sure.
And what did you get? I don't know if this is a stupid question or not.
No. There's no stupid questions with this.
Did you get it done after you lost the weight for the second time?
I did. Yeah, I did. Because that was the first time I was really like, I know I can do it again. I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but with your current, surgery, having everything, do you feel like if you gained weight at where you are right now, like, do you feel like it would be game over? Do you feel like you're like, that's it, I'm broken again?
So, I have a little bit of weight regain right now.
Okay.
I am conscious of it. I'm not like afraid of it, because I know that there's a little bit of weight regain that's supposed to happen.
Of course.
It's just that I'm mindful about it, and I'm trying to like offset it. But like, so I go hard I go hard with my workout.
Of course.
Everything possible, trying to make sure that, all right, I'm gonna make sure that because it's very hard to like stay up with your eating and everything. And you try to offset it every which way. You're like, I'm the steps, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but you're fearful of stepping back up on the scale to see that it's gonna go higher.
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. 100%.
And a lot of it has to do with like, I've changed my diet multiple times to try to like offset it as well.
Yep.
But maybe not as much as I should, because I think nutrition probably plays a bigger part in why I'm not like, it's not working the way I want when I'm working out.
You ever hear that phrase, you can't outrun a bad diet? I used to think that you go, if I eat like garbage, I'm just going to work it off extra hard, and it just doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. Whatever thing you put in your mouth that you shouldn't, it takes 5 to 6, 7 times the effort you think it's going to take to burn off. You just can't outrun it. I do that too. I go, I'll wear my weighted vest and I'll run a couple extra miles and that'll be fine. But it just doesn't, your body just does not work like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, but so you mentioned that, you started walking, you started getting movement, you lost the weight.
Yep.
What did you do about your diet? Like, how'd that start to get better? What changes did you make there?
I live by this phrase, and I don't know. I feel like it's a phrase that in my head I came up with, but like, you don't ever create anything. Like, you kind of like take things here from there and that sort of thing. I read this book about the magician Penn Jillette.
Yeah.
He's a magician over in Las Vegas. He has a show called Penn and Teller where So he wrote this book about him and his buddy trying to lose weight. He was on death's door. He had pre-diabetic. He was hypertensive, and his doctor's like, "We're gonna get you gastric bypassed, and we're gonna get this off." And he was like, "No, thank you." He did this. He chronicled. Please listen to the end of the story, because the beginning of the story is kind of fucked up. Him and his buddy ate nothing but potatoes for 90 days and chronicled it. And I was fascinated by this, because by the end of the thing, he ended up losing the weight. But I'm like, in my head, I go, does that make any sense? He ate nothing but potatoes for 3 months, and he lost a bunch of weight. Potatoes are carbs. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And that sat with me for a good hot minute. And I was also like, by the way, I was like, I like potatoes. I'm not eating potatoes for 3 months. I don't care what the hell is going on, right? Yeah. And I came up with this thought. I was like, what if it's not what he's eating? What if it's what he's not eating? Like, what if like what he was putting in his, because he didn't talk about that. He didn't talk about the things he was eating before he started this experiment. So I just started journaling, which was something we learned in, our groups, food logging. Biggest pain in the ass, but it's something that helps the most. I started just logging my food, and I started finding patterns. Like, for example, I always knew I had like a problem with fast food, but I never understood why. I realized that I like to snack in the car. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something in my childhood, but I get in that car. I love having something on the seat that I can munch on while I'm driving. I didn't know that about myself, believe it or not. When I figured that out, I'll go, okay, well, instead of going to Chick-fil-A 3 times a day, let's just have a snack in the car. So I started doing that, and it was really fucking tough. And then eventually you break the habit, and then you move on and you go, oh yeah, McDonald's. I haven't had that in 3 years. That's cool. That's awesome for me,
Yeah.
So I started cutting stuff out of that with the food log, and then I adopted this system I call replace, not remove. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this where like you go, we got to hit the reset button on this. We got to change everything what we're doing. No more shit. Opening the cabinets, you're throwing it in the trash. You're like, this is it. I'm having my moment. This feels awesome. I'm taking control of everything. You throw a bunch of shit out, and then you have an empty kitchen. It feels good for a second. And then you're like, I'm hungry though. What do I eat? And then you start to put the stuff back in. I made it a rule now that if I remove something, I got to replace it. So instead of eating X, we find a replacement for X. And then once we've established that, then we take that other thing out. It takes 10 times the effort. It sucks. It sucks to go to a grocery store and look for stuff when you're not hungry. But you do that enough times and you can find brand new things that you can put in your diet. And then suddenly your diet isn't so hard. And it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort. But that's how I got my eating under control.
With that being said, y'all heard it from the man's mouth, the bite-sized Ken. It is a little bit past 2 halftime. Tony, what do you have for halftime?
So at halftime, don't forget to check out our sister chat every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Talk Barry to me with our sister, VSG Bestie.
Hey, VSG Bestie.
Yes. Every first Monday of the month, we have the men's mental health shop talk with our friend and newest member of BME, Fadeaway Ryan. Definitely check that out. That's quickly coming up. We're halfway through the month, so that'll be right around the corner.
That's awesome. That's cool that you guys do that.
Yeah. Ryan is a great addition to the BME family for sure. We love having him. We would love to have him here tonight, but he had some things he had to take care of personally. Due to some storms and stuff that they had up there where he was all into that, so he's just pulling things together there.
I was incredibly impressed by the stuff he's doing with alcohol treatment and overeat. Like I think it's incredible what he's doing. He's definitely like a fantastic addition to what this is. I'm very proud of you guys.
I can't get over the fact that this dude was 835.
I had no idea. No, I mean, why would you assume that? But he's like 800, and I was like, I'm sorry. Sometimes you go, I'm like, wait, pounds. He wasn't saying like a different number, like like.
Right, and then just getting yourself, and I don't like to talk too much, but I would tell him to his face. But I just getting yourself in that mind state where you achieve what he has achieved, and
it's insane.
And he's a freaking therapist. I mean, are you kidding me?
It's incredible. It's incredible that he did that and he wants to help people. It's just that's a beautiful person right there.
So speaking of helping people, let's talk bite-sized, man.
Oh, we don't have to do that. That's fine.
No, we definitely got to talk about bite-sized. It's an amazing addition to the community. A lot of people, it's brought attention to a lot of people. It's helped a lot of the followers in the comments. Not just that, the people in the community. What inspired it? Like, what inspired you to start bite-sized? And tell us a little bit about how that started.
It started. I was finishing up a walk. At the time the mall that I used to walk at was connected to a grocery store called Wegmans. I'm in New England. It's a big grocery chain out this way. Yeah, I mean, And sometimes, like, when I'm on a walk, that's when I get like the most random ideas. Like, I had this idea for like a falafel raptor called a falafel stand called Falafel Raptor, and I was like, that's an awesome name. I was like, too bad I don't know what a falafel is, and I have no desire to do that. And I was like, it's just think of shit like that. One day I was walking out of the mall, and I just said, I saw this sign that said size matters or something like that, and it was just stuck in my head because it was so stupid. And I was walking around the grocery store, and I said bite-sized, and I'm like, what would that be? What would be the tagline for that? And I go, foods for your bite-sized stomach. I'm like, what the hell is a bite-sized stomach? And I'm like, oh, I have a bite-sized stomach. I was like, shit. And I was like, write that down. And I wrote it down. And then I started making recipe videos on here, and I started calling it bite-sized. And I was on a podcast at the time. Her name was Erin. We had a nutritionist on, and she was like, oh, I like bite-sized. And I was like, oh, she remembered the thing. I did. I'm like, that's cool. And it's a nutritionist too. That's even awesome. Like, she's like, I think it's great. So I was like, I'll start doing that. And then I just started making videos, not having any idea what it was going to be. I'm like, I just make food videos in my apartment, and I post them, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know what it's going to be, but this is what it is.
Right.
And then people started finding me on Instagram and on YouTube, and was like, where's your cookbook? And I'm like, I don't have a cookbook. I just gave you a video. Why would you want a book? Like, I've never seen a movie and been like, gotta pick up that book, right? So like, but it kept happening like that. And I go, yes, exactly. So I'm like, I'm not somebody that goes like, I'm not, if somebody asks for something from me, I'm like, I have a hard time saying no. And I go, maybe I do that. I had seen some other people in the community like make a cookbook that had never even talked about food, and I was like, well, they're freaking doing it. Like, why not me? I'm like, I can do it. I'm like, I'm a graphic designer. I can put a book together. That's fine. And then, my friend Sherry on here, she was super supportive. She was just like, she's like, I don't know why you're not doing this. Like, it's obvious people want that. And I go, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's helpful or useful. And he's like, but that's what they want. And I go, okay, we'll try it. We'll absolutely try it. I always tell the story her and I talk about all the time. I go, I remember buying the first inventory. It was like $600, and I go, I'm never going to see this money again. It's just going to be a pile of books that sits in the corner of my apartment. I'm just going to move it around whenever I need to get to a plug, but I was like, whatever, I'll just do it. And then, fast forward now, I think I've sold over 15,000 copies to date.
For real?
Yeah, no, for real. Which is insane. I wish I kept track of those things better. I know, like, it blows my mind. Between, TikTok Shop and Amazon and my website, like, yeah, over 15,000 copies. It just sort of exploded. I don't keep track of the stuff. I don't ever. I feel I have like a guilt associated with BiteSized, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I don't feel good about making money off of this. I just don't. So I've never touched it. I just keep it in an account. I think it was January, I was like, I got to do something. I'm like, maybe I make another cookbook. Maybe I got to do this. And I was like, another cookbook. I was like, the problem with, I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but like, whenever you do something really tough and you do it and you accomplish it, that doesn't necessarily make you want to do it again. Like, you're like, I remember how hard that was. I remember how difficult that was. Finding the recipes, doing the videos, writing the things, testing them, everything. It's a lot of work. It's a big lift. So before the end of the year last year, I was like, all right, well, if I don't do a cookbook, what am I going to do? And that was when I just started listening to people again. And I started reading all my comments and all my messages. And the thing that people kept asking me about the book was, one, where do I buy wontons? And then two, I'd love to meal prep these. How can you adjust these to meal prep? And I go, I don't know. I'm like, because I've never meal prepped before. That's like a foreign concept to me. But it just kept coming up like over and over and over again. So I didn't want to be like, hey guys, I'm going to start doing meal prepping and having no idea how to do that. so for the last 6 months, that's all I've been doing is just learning how to meal prep. It's actually very like it's not straightforward. It's really tough. It really is like a big pain in the ass. As somebody that makes recipes for like a side hustle, and by doing that, I realized that like that's probably a huge barrier for people. It's like you say, "Hey, I want to start being more mindful about my eating. I want to start making recipes that are better for me. I want to start meal batching," and then having no idea how to do it or where to get it for. Oh, excuse me. Or where to go for good information. That's a huge barrier, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I started creating this new thing called Berry Bowl. That's actually the prototype right up there,
Yeah.
from like a month ago. I'm sorry, from like 6 months ago. Is a bariatric meal prepping kit. It comes in sets of 3 and 6. It tells you exactly where to put everything: protein, vegetables, carbs. It's based off the bariatric ratio.
And it's weighed out, right?
And it's weighed out. It'll have recipes when it launches. And the good thing about eating in a ratio is, as you guys know, when you start your process, you can only eat so much, right? Those little tiny itty bitty things. But as you go through life, that amount of food kind of starts to get a little bit bigger. But if you maintain that ratio, you still will maintain your progress. So all the recipes will be geared towards the bariatric ratio, which is 50% protein, 30% veggies, 20% carbs. It's all balanced. It's all good meals. It's all batch cooking. So that's the next thing that I'm making, and I'm very excited about it. But like, it's a shit ton of work, and yeah, I'm nervous about it because I've never done this kind of stuff before. It's also a lot of money and a lot of time, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, if I nailed this the way I did the book, I'm like, it could be very useful, and I'm very excited about that.
Well, I'm readily waiting for it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Again, I just explained to you like the whole issue with like I know it's nutritional when it comes to my journey right now, because the further you get out, this is where all of those habits that you try to form that first year really matter the most.
Big time. No, big time.
And have it so conveniently have it like portioned for you, and it keeps, again, it's a portion control thing.
That's exactly right. It's a portion control thing. The other thing is too, like you probably read in the book, like I'm a big fan of like showing recipes that like there are recipes you make when you first have surgery that you will never touch again. And then when you do something, you learn something, and then you forget that. It's kind of a waste of time. These recipes that I'm gearing towards, it's like it'll be for early stage people that are just like 6 months, 9 months, longer term, people that are looking to get back on the wagon, get started again. Like, it's for all comers, and it makes it so much more complicated on me and the nutritionist that I have working for me that's helping me fix these things. But like, it's worth it, because any time or any frustration I take on, I save that for an extraordinary amount of people, and that's the mission. It's to save people time, it's to save people that frustration, and it's to eliminate the barriers. I want you to be able to, when you decide to make the change, have something you can go to and just start doing it. That's the goal of Berry Bowl.
So awesome.
That's the tagline. Thank you.
Say it again. What was it?
That's the goal of Berry Bowl.
I know that's right. Hey,
You heard it here.
Yep, y'all heard it here first. Well,
That's the goal of Berry
maybe
Bowl.
second. I'm sure Ken shared that on his own content for sure. So I just saw someone ask when it was going to be released.
Yeah, so I just made a post about, so it comes with bite-sized utensils. That's the last detail I have to figure out. I was just kind of getting a consensus about like what kind would people want. Once I figure that out, it goes into production and it'll be out mid-September.
Yeah, I saw that. Did you come up with the utensils?
No.
I was like, what are you going to do? What do you mean the knife doesn't cut? Damn it.
It doesn't cut. I know. I couldn't. Like, this is exactly why it's taken so long. Because like if every little detail with this, it has to be correct, And I go, hey, send me a set of silverware to this dimension, and then they do, and I go, this is perfect. And then you start using it, you're like, this thing doesn't cut. Like this is
You need a
completely
little knife
useless.
sharpener on the side of the bowl.
I swear to God, like so when I figured that out, I was just like, that is really dumb. Like I'm sorry, that is so dumb that I have to be like, oh, by the way, the knife that you're sending me, make sure it's able to cut. That's the only thing a knife does, right? So like when I got that, I reached out to the guy and thinking like, yeah, of course. And he goes, absolutely not. And I go, all right, cool. I don't know what to do about this now. Like, yeah, yeah. I swear to God, I thought he was joking. I swear to God, I thought he was joking. Like, you can't like sharpen it. Like, you guys made silverware from scratch. You can't just. He's just like, absolutely not. And I was like, you were kidding me. Like, so I'm freaking out because I've made a post being like, it's going to come with 3 berry bowls and bite-sized utensils and this, and that. And suddenly I don't have like the component that's like supposed to be the easy part, which is just, utensils, right? So I have them send me out. I'm looking through their catalog and I go, oh, what is this? He's like, oh, it's got chopsticks in it. And I'm like, I remember them talking about chopsticks in the beginning. Like I'm like, that works. Like, send me that. So they sent me those. It's a 10 times better kit. But when I made the post on here today, I thought overwhelmingly it would be like, yeah, I want the one with the chopsticks. It's 50-50. It's absolutely 50-50. I'm like, God damn, like not even like 50 to 51. It's like right down the middle, which is so typical. It's like, it's never, except for on the fact of a couple of weeks ago, I was like, hey, should I put the logo on the bowl? Everybody was like, no, don't put the logo on the bowl. I don't want that thing to say Berry Bowl. I don't want people to know I had surgery. And I was like, I'm glad I asked because I totally would have done that.
Great idea. I like the whole protein, and I mean, that's really all you need.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my opinion.
No, seriously. No, it made sense when people said it. Let's see. No, as soon as people said it, I was like, yeah, that makes absolutely sense. So
Can you show it again? Can you show the inside and all that?
So this is the final product. It's just going to have the logo on top. Nothing on, no identifying marks on it whatsoever. And then inside, you got your it's going to be flipped. Apologies, guys. Protein, veggies, and carbs. And then the thing that's missing from this, which this is also why social media is so powerful, was I was like, how can I make this better? And someone was like, oh, I would love to have like a little cup for salad dressing. And I go, no problem. I can do that. Right. That I could do. I'm like, hey, can you just whip up a salad dressing cup to put in that? That they could do for some reason. So they're making that now too, which is very cool.
So we got about 7 minutes left of Ken, you all, and Tony and I, and also Ken would like to thank you all for all the comments. If you all have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. So, Ken is here to answer them. Thank you for the 17,000 likes. That's amazing.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's amazing. The community always shows up, man. I tell you. And it's predominantly women, which is also amazing.
So cool.
The support that we get from you all is
incredible,
and we appreciate it so much. And speaking of the community, what kind of feedback have you received from the community? What does this community mean to you, Kim?
It's overwhelmingly positive. It's, as you said, it's predominantly female, and I'm never of the persuasion that like when the community is one thing, the underrepresented, like I never think that like it's women's fault that men aren't represented in this community. We just don't talk about this stuff, and I totally get that. It's incredible, it's really like, as somebody that like in high school, like I'll be completely blunt, I never thought any girl, any female, any would ever like want to hear what I had to say, let alone like be like, oh, I like what you make, I like your thoughts, or I enjoy the sound of your voice. Like that's a very nice thing to hear from people. I enjoy that kind of feedback. It's great, like I really do wish that like more men could be helped with this community. I really do wish that, but I absolutely love the reception in here. It's a very warm and very thankful and very, like when you have gratitude, there's so much gratitude in this community. When you have that, you just want to just give it back and just share it and just, repay it. And it's it feels good. It feels like a good mission. And I love being part of it. Sometimes like I worry, because like I'm a business person now. I go, is this like a, is this like a hobby? Like, is this like a small thing? Like, is there enough people to serve? And I don't care if there is. There's enough good people in here to serve, and that's all I care about. Hey, Jay. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and Tony and I can't say it enough. It's always for, and we picked it up from Murph as well. He said it, him and Rob, when we talked to the waiting table. It's
I'm
all,
kidding.
it's all for the one, right?
Yeah.
Just as long as we can help at least one person or let them know that they're not alone, because none of us up here are doctors, physicians,
Yeah, no.
not nutritionists. I'm not, nor am I a mental health therapist. Ryan is, of course, but I mean, we just really want to share the male perspective and what we're going through day in and day out. One day, on a weekly basis, to give us some space and share those experiences with the community and with those men in the comments if we can reach out to them. So if each and every one of you have an opportunity, you run across any men in the community, please don't hesitate to share their content with Tony and I and Ryan with Bari Male Experience, because we really want to try to reach each and every male we can in this community to let them know that they're not alone. So.
Big time. No, big time. Is it okay if I respond to just one comment I just saw real quick before we wrap up?
You can do whatever you want, man.
I appreciate that. What words of encouragement are you leaving with us? I've been thinking about this a lot lately because, like, I struggle with this, and I know if I struggle with this, I know many people might. There's probably something you all want to do. There's probably something you all want to experience. And there's probably a voice inside of your head that's telling you you can't do it, or you shouldn't do it, or who are you to do it? And to that, I want to give you a little bit of encouragement that you can do it. You may not be able to do it in the way that you think you can, but with that, a little bit of help, a little bit of, faith, and just asking for the things that you want, you can go in so many incredible places. I never thought I would ever lose this much weight, feel like this, run races, write cookbooks, connect with people, have a following, have a business. And, I feel like I'm just getting started. I'm excited about what the future may hold. And what I'm trying to say is you guys can also have a future that you get excited about, and that the possibilities are bright and endless, and you can do it. You just got to learn to kind of overcome that little voice in your head that says you're not enough. You are enough, and you can get through it. The end.
Man,
Mic drop.
the myth, the legend, Ken, BiteSized. Tony, take us out of here, man.
All right. So we just want to say thank you, Ken, for coming up and joining us. We really, really appreciate everything that you're doing for the community and you're continuing to do for the community. Again, this book made my journey so much easier in the very beginning.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that I came across it. Your content came up and you said, oh, I don't know how to TikTok shop, you know how it works.
No.
It
still
works.
don't know how it does. Sometimes my book is on sale for a penny. I don't know why it is, but sometimes it is. I still don't get it.
I'm just so glad that I grabbed it. And there were so many of us that are in this community that have grabbed this. So again, we truly, truly appreciate you very, very much. And I'm really looking forward to the Bari Bowl and stuff.
Well,
Like that, it could be a game changer for me now that I'm further out in my journey.
Well, I appreciate you letting me know, because I made it for people like you and mine, people with a family, people that, were looking at this process as a daunting thing. It is daunting. Change is hard. So I'm so glad that it served somebody in the way that I wanted it to. So thank you for letting me know about that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. With that being said,
I could talk to Ken forever, man.
I
appreciate
know,
that.
really could.
Same.
And there's so much that we probably could cover that we could only fit into an hour. So if there's ever a chance and you're ever interested, if you ever want to come back up, we'd love to have
I would
you back
love
on.
that. Yeah, guys, I never want to overstay my welcome. I will, anytime you guys need another person, let me know.
And you are always welcome, believe me.
Appreciate that.
Again, so it's almost time. Just want to give everyone a heads up. Every Sunday night, be sure to check out our sister chat, BSG Bestie, on Talk Bari to Me at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. Every other Monday night, be sure to check out Bari Unfiltered with our friends Kate and Anna. And the Bari Sisters are on at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. And obviously, the boys belong to Taco Tuesday. You can join us at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. And don't forget that every first Monday of the month we have